Welcome to a space where your mental state is treated as something that requires maintenance, protection, and intentional restoration, not just endurance. In a world that rewards constant output and glorifies staying busy, many people are unknowingly operating in a prolonged state of mental strain. This channel exists to shift that perspective, to help you understand that your mind is not designed to function under continuous pressure without recovery. True self-care is not just about rest in the traditional sense, but about giving your brain the specific conditions it needs to reset, recalibrate, and function at its highest capacity. One of the most overlooked yet powerful tools for this restoration is nature. During high-stress periods, the brain enters a state of sustained activation. The prefrontal cortex, responsible for decision-making, focus, and problem-solving, becomes overworked. It is constantly engaged, managing tasks, processing information, and attempting to maintain control over an increasing number of demands. This leads to what is known as cognitive fatigue, where the ability to concentrate, make clear decisions, and regulate emotions begins to decline. The mind starts to loop, revisiting the same thoughts, struggling to prioritize, and becoming easily overwhelmed. Many attempt to push through this state using stimulants or by forcing more productivity, but this only extends the strain. The brain does not recover from this kind of fatigue through effort. It requires a shift in environment, one that reduces the demand on directed attention and allows the nervous system to reset. This is where nature becomes essential. Unlike urban or digital environments, which constantly demand focus and interpretation, natural environments provide a different type of stimulation. They engage the mind without overwhelming it. This shift begins at a chemical level. Trees and plants release airborne compounds known as phytoncides. When you spend time in natural environments, these compounds are inhaled and begin to influence the body's internal systems. Research has shown that exposure to phytoncides can lower cortisol levels, the hormone associated with stress, while also supporting immune function by increasing natural killer cell activity. This is not a subtle effect. It is a measurable biological response that contributes to a sense of calm and physical restoration. The longer you remain in these environments, the more pronounced these effects become. At the same time, the visual experience of nature plays a significant role in calming the brain. Natural environments are filled with fractal patterns, repeating shapes that occur in leaves, trees, clouds, and landscapes. The human brain is naturally tuned to recognize and process these patterns with ease. Unlike artificial structures, which often require more cognitive effort to interpret, fractals are processed effortlessly. This ease of processing allows the brain to enter a more relaxed state, often associated with alpha wave activity. This state is calm but alert, reducing mental strain while maintaining awareness. This combination of chemical and visual input creates what is referred to as soft fascination. Instead of forcing the brain to focus, nature gently holds attention without effort. This allows the prefrontal cortex to reduce its activity. The constant demand for control and decision-making is temporarily lifted, giving the brain space to recover. This process is supported by what is known as attention restoration theory, which suggests that exposure to natural environments restores the brain's ability to focus by allowing it to rest from continuous directed attention. As this restoration takes place, the internal noise begins to quiet. Thoughts become less repetitive, decision-making becomes clearer, and emotional responses become more balanced. This is not because problems have disappeared, but because the brain has regained the capacity to process them effectively. The mental defragmentation that occurs during this time allows scattered thoughts to reorganize, making it easier to return to complex tasks with renewed clarity. Despite these benefits, time in nature is often treated as optional, something to fit in when convenient. This perspective overlooks its importance. From a neurological standpoint, exposure to natural environments functions as a form of maintenance. Without it, the effects of prolonged stress continue to accumulate, increasing the risk of burnout and reducing overall cognitive performance. Reframing time in nature as a necessity rather than a luxury changes how it is prioritized. Even short periods of exposure can have measurable effects. Spending time in a park, walking among trees, or simply being in a green space for as little as 20 to 30 minutes can begin to lower stress levels and improve focus. Longer periods, such as a few hours or a full day, provide deeper restoration. Consistency is key. Regular exposure throughout the week is more effective than occasional long sessions, as it prevents stress from reaching levels that require more intensive recovery. Incorporating this into daily life does not require drastic changes. It begins with intentional choices, stepping outside during breaks, choosing natural environments over artificial ones when possible, and reducing time spent in overstimulating settings. The goal is not to escape responsibility, but to create balance. By allowing the brain to reset regularly, overall productivity and well-being improve. This is the essence of what it means to practice mind care as self-care. It is recognizing that your brain has limits, that it requires specific conditions to function well, and that those conditions are often found in places that are simple and accessible. Nature provides a direct pathway to restoration, one that does not rely on complex strategies or external tools. Thank you for being part of Mind Care as Self-Care. Continue to prioritize what supports your mind at a fundamental level. When you treat restoration as essential, not optional, you create the conditions for sustained clarity, resilience, and balance in a world that constantly demands your attention.